All right, I just wanted to take a few minutes to go over the district exam with you. So let's get going. All right, so a couple of real quick strategies for revising and editing. Make sure that you are reading the passage through the eyes of an editor. What I mean by that is, when you're doing a revising and editing passage, there will be grammar mistakes. There will be revising mistakes. So while you're reading it, look for them. And it's different than a reading comprehension. We can expect those to be polished because we're looking for different things. Revising and editing, you're looking for mistakes. So get out that highlighter and start looking for things that just don't sound right or look right. Look over the question stems. Some students find that very helpful to look over the question stems or the questions that are being asked about the passage prior to reading it. Some students find that distracting. So you kind of have to, when we do them in class, make sure that you figure out which one works for you or which strategy works for you. Trust your ear. We talk so dang much. We know what sounds right. So sometimes, if you're in between two answers, maybe that's going to make the difference between choosing the right one. So don't dismiss what it sounds like or what your ear is telling you. And then also just be careful. A lot of pre-AP students rush through the revising and editing. One is, just kind of get rushed because you feel like you're running out of time. Another reason, which is unfortunately a little bit more common, is that your hubris kind of takes over. You're like, this is the easy section, and then you miss silly mistakes. So just be careful with that. Okay, so here's the prompt, or the passage. And if you notice, it was kind of interesting when I looked at it. It says, Jasmine wrote this paper to tell about a personal experience that turned out different than she expected. To me, that sounds very much like an EOC expository prompt. It wouldn't surprise me at all if you guys would have an expository prompt that would say, tell about a time when something turned out differently than you expected. So anyway, they're trying to make the connection between what you're writing and then what you're actually revising and editing, which makes perfect sense. So here's the passage, and you might want to pause this and refer back to it. All right, so the answers. What should be changed about, or in sentence 4? And the answer to that one is H. There's a spelling error there. What I would suggest that you do is if you see any questions that have, these even suggest there might be a spelling, take the 30 seconds and look up in the dictionary so you can either confirm that's the right answer or you can eliminate it. So H is a correct answer for that one. Number 2, what change is needed in sentence number 9? And that is it's very, very typical to have these on EOC exams. The difference between 2, 2, and 2. So the answer to that is B. And the answer to number 3, well, I guess for you guys it's 3, but I have different numbers on this one. The answer to this one is J. For the rest of the day, neither of us spoke. It was obvious that she was no happier than the arrangement than I was. The reason for that one is if you look through all of these answer choices, there are two, like in this case, there are 2 sentences. One is a complete sentence, one is not. In this, it's all one sentence, and it is a run-on. There should be a period or a semicolon right there. In this case, you've got one complete sentence and one incomplete sentence. So none of these 3 would work anyway, no matter what. So this is the only one that has 2 complete sentences, so therefore it is the correct answer. All right, what change, if any, needs to be made in sentence 27? And I did talk about that in most of the classes, about the difference between a lot and a lot. And you wouldn't say a little as one word, so you wouldn't say a lot as one word. So the answer to that one is, the one that drives me crazy all the time, is no change needs to be made. Because we're kind of go in it looking for the change. And then when it doesn't happen, it's like, okay. So the answer to that is everything is all peachy keen. We can talk about B if you're unfamiliar with when to use I and me. Most of you know that rule. I can talk about that in class, or you can do a real quick search on Google and you can get some answers to that too. But most people know that one, so I didn't want to take too much time with that. All right, and number 16, what change should be made to sentence 31? The correct answer, this one several students missed, it should be H. You need to change became to become. And now, and I just want to take a minute to go through that one. Here's a quick grammar rule. There are 2 different types of verbs. You get your regular verbs and you have your irregular verbs. Example of a regular verb is the word bake. Now, with verbs, you have 3 basic verbs. Okay, now there are lots of subcategories within the verbs, but In a verb, you've got your base, the one that you would look into the dictionary and you'd see the word bake, and then there'd be variations of the present tense of bake. And then you've got your past tense, okay, baked, and then you've got your past participle, had baked. Okay, well, of course there are different variations of those, but for the most part you have three basic area or types of verbs. Okay, the problem is in the English language we have our beautiful irregular verbs, and become just happens to be one. Okay, so that's your base. Now here's where it gets a little bit crazy for people. The past tense of become is became. And the past participle for become is had become. So the answer choice will, or in the sentence it says had became, and it doesn't exist. That type of a verb, I mean, grammatically that doesn't work because it's an irregular verb and the past participles had become. When talking with students, most of them the people who got that one right, when I asked them, I said, why did you choose that one? That's where the ear came into play. They go, it just sounded weird to say had became. It just didn't sound right. You don't need to know all of these, funky grammar rules in order to get the question correct. Again, just sometimes you just trust your ear. So that's that. If you have any questions, come see me and we can go through your exam. And there you go. Thank you.